Hey there, amplifiers. One of the coolest things that I get to experience in my journey on amplifying is connecting with other rockstar professionals, influencers who are at the top of their game, who serve a similar mission of helping inspire and empower businesses and entrepreneurs to thrive. Now, I met today's guest at an event, and it was really inspiring because she shares similar values. She is dynamic. She has a great presentation. She's an influential keynote speaker, and she's a leader when it comes to helping those in the mortgage and lending industry really amplify their business. She's an author, course creator, and Amazon bestseller as well. And I'd like to welcome her to Growth Amplifiers. Welcome to Growth Amplifiers, Jen du Plessis.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you too, Kenny. And listen, by the way, I was so impressed with you at the Life event down in Atlanta. And it was exciting to get out, don't you think, given the fact that we were all in COVID? I was just so excited to get on an airplane and like be with people. And, just really impressed with you as well, which is why, we're here today. We're here today.
Awesome sauce. You know what? I've told people I've spent way too much time with my cat this year. And
Yeah.
while Zoom is great, it gives us the ability to do things like this.
Yeah.
Being able to connect in person and getting the energy is amazing. And that's one of the things I really liked about your presentation. You were telling stories. You were giving out energy. You can feel the crowd getting into it. And you were really dropping off some great bombs of information that could change the trajectory of, someone's business and career. And that's one of the things I really like when having a keynote or an influencer speak. It's great to have stories, but it's also great to get really cool information that can help you out with your business. And I know that you're bringing some of that cool information here today. But before we get into those amplifying action tips, if you could start us off by telling us a little bit about your story. How did you get to do what you're doing now? What is your journey to becoming the rockstar professional you are today?
Oh, well, first of all, it's a long journey, so I'm going to keep it short. It is. The basis of everything is that I had a 35-year career in the mortgage lending space, being in the top 1% for 15 years and in the top 200 for several years. And not 200%, 200 people. And when you look at the scope of what we have in the mortgage industry, and today we have 500,000 loan officers. Back then we had almost 800,000. To be in the top 200 people,
Wow.
it's quite a feat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it takes a lot of work, but it wasn't easy, right? I walked in the horrible footsteps of doing everything wrong for many, many years. And, one night I was at dinner with my family and had to take a phone call like we always do, taking care of our client. And, I'm out there walking on that concrete balance beam that we've all walked on outside of a store, a restaurant, having a chit chat with a client, nodding at people as they're walking in and out. And I happened to glance over into the window of the restaurant, and lo and behold, my family was in there laughing and having fun and creating all these memories, but I wasn't in them.
Oh.
And that was the tipping point for me. That was the point where I said enough proving in my life. And that stemmed from my childhood, just always feeling like I have to prove to people. And I started living. I started saying, okay, I've got to figure out a way to live. And at the time, I was doing 50 million a year, which is really good volume. And as a lender, it puts you in that top 1%. But I was working ridiculous hours, and nothing was more important than, climbing this ladder of success. One as a woman, but the other just proving to my family that I was going to be worth something, because they called me Jenny who ain't got a penny.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I knew I had to change. So over the course of the next couple of years, that's what I did. I started developing a code to crack, and so it's called Cracking the Top Producer Code. How did I crack that code to go into, this massive success? And the result was that I actually worked way less, way less. And did twice as much business. So I got my priorities in straightened up, right? I mastered my priorities so that I can master my life. And, the rest is history. I chose my path. I chose my path to leave lending at a certain period once I hit $1 billion in funding. And now I want to share with other people how they can succeed and get there and have that life, that an unbelievable life while they have an unbelievable business.
I applaud that.
Oh, I have
You
an
know,
emoji for that, I'm sure.
emoji.
I'm always looking for my little emojis, right?
Oh, cool. I love those. I'm sure you're familiar with Napoleon Hill,
Oh, yeah.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
And, he studied some of the most successful people and looked at their success habits.
Yeah.
You read the book and it's great foundation, but when you're in your industry,
Yeah.
how to apply that in your industry. And
Yeah.
that's really challenging, and people get lost in translation. And
Yeah.
that's where someone like yourself, who has kind of been through that journey and experienced it and learned what to tweak and adjust to be
Yeah.
effective and efficient. So,
Yes.
if we can take a moment to kind of dial into, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions or challenges that people in your industry, um, the mortgage industry, really are making as they come into that career, or as they're trying to grow, that are holding them back? And while you're sharing that, I want the listeners or viewers to understand that although we're talking about mortgage, a lot of these concepts will relate in other industries as well.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And as you were asking the question, I'm thinking, well, it's not just mortgage, because I coach real estate agents, I coach investors and entrepreneurs on a case by case basis. Because I'm an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
I apply these practices to all of my businesses. And it's not, I don't even know that it's a misconception
Mm-hmm.
in any business. I think what happens is that we grow up, or not grow up, but it's through attrition. We're a really good widget maker, so we decide we want to be a widget maker owner,
Right.
right? Or we're a really good loan officer, we want to be a manager or an owner of a mortgage company. The same with a real estate company. I think that the path is inaccurate. I think there's something called the 4 stages of growth, and it's formulation, concentration, momentum, and stability. And some people are out there saying there's 5 stages and the 5th stage would be success. I don't go there, because it's not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've heard that 1,000 times. Success is not a destination. It's not, okay, now I'm successful, so I'm done, right?
Right.
It's just part of the journey. So but what a lot of people want is they want stability without going through the other stages. And there's just no way to do it. You can be thrust into it. And for example, right now with lending and real estate, because of COVID and rates are really low, people that were doing poorly, I mean, gosh, a year ago, they were singing the blues. And now they're saying, I've had the best year ever. Check me out, giving themselves high fives. But my fear is they were thrust into this momentum without having the formulation and concentration. So what will happen when rates go up? What will happen when the market changes? We don't know what's going to happen we don't even know who we're going to have for president. We
Right.
think we're going to have one. I don't know. Maybe we'll have Nancy Pelosi when it's all said and done. I don't know what's going to happen. So they're all riding high, and that's a problem. So if there's a misconception, it's, seeing momentum because the market gave you momentum, not because you created a foundation. And this is where, again, Napoleon Hill, people are like, oh, I want to get the book Think and Grow Rich. If I think, I'll grow rich. It's not that. It's a
Mm.
mindset of how you think.
Mm.
So I don't know if that, helps with answering the question, but, for me, it stems down into core values. Everything is core values. We are doing activities for the sake of doing activities. It's like eating soup with a fork, and we're never
Oh.
full, and we're just exhausted. And we're chasing what everybody else thinks is our dream. That having a big house and a yacht and a Lamborghini and all this stuff, we think that that's what success is because someone else told us that. So it's stepping back and saying, well, what is success to me? Because it may not be those things, and I'll never be happy if I get them. If I get what everybody else wants, I'll never be happy. So what is it for me? Is it money? Is it time? Is it, the ability to leisurely travel? Really assessing what is important to you. And when you have that core, then all of your activities are going to be purposeful, right? You have a path
Mm-hmm.
and you have a purpose, and it's intentional, and you can breathe. a little bit, right? And not just be running amok.
Clarity,
Yeah.
very important.
Yes, it is.
And I know I've fallen for that, I guess, distraction path
Yep.
of having others, their shiny objects, and you just start
Mhm.
kind of following along, thinking you're doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
But there comes that time when you may realize that's not really what I want. That's not really who I am. And then you question yourself, who am I?
Right. Well, that was the restaurant for me.
Hmm.
That was outside the restaurant. I was done just running amok. I was done doing everything that everyone told me I should be doing, and said, I don't really need to be doing all of that. I need to be doing what I need to be doing to get where I need to go, but I needed to slow down to figure it out.
So as people are maybe feeling that feeling of being sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the feeling that you may be feeling if
Hmm.
you're running really hard, you're not getting to where you want to go, and you don't know what's getting in your way. Like, why isn't this working?
Hmm.
And so when people are getting into that space, what should they consider doing that can help them maybe get a better clarity on where they want to go and
Hmm.
start beginning to take the actions and making the changes to move forward in that path?
Yeah. Well, again, it is clarity. I mean, that's one of the five principles that I teach, right? Is the first
Mhm.
one is clarity. And
Right.
and again, that is a core values, assessing where your core values are, figuring out what fulfills you so that you can get more of it. And, and I think, really figuring out what it is that attracts people to you, so that you can deliver just what they're looking for. And so if you're selling everything to everybody, you're selling nothing to no one,
Right.
right? And I think that that's where the problem stems. And I always say slow down to speed up instead of speeding up to slow down. It means taking a step back. It means having an assessment, and it's not 24 hours, it's over time, right?
Right.
A period of time, but you have to dedicate the time to doing it, to figure out, what really is important to me. Where do I really want to go in life? And how do I bridge the gap to get there instead of kind of squirreling around, for different ways and different patterns, like you said, the distractions, the shiny objects, and things like that. So decision making, and this isn't just for small entrepreneurs. The big guys do this too. They look at every decision that they make goes back to what is their mission. That's why they do mission statements.
Right.
Does this serve the mission that I have for my company? And so certainly you could look at that. But as individuals, if we're solopreneurs, right? And I believe that mortgage and real estate agents are solopreneurs. So I always look at it in that way. But if that truly is the case, in order to make decisions, you have to go back to those core values. So an example would be, if you say, it's funny because I ask people, so do you know your core values? And people they don't know. That's the first problem, right?
What?
Don't know.
Yeah.
But they'll say, family, and it's a question, right? And I go, well, I don't know. Is that a question, or is it a core value that I have conviction for, right? And so the problem is, and a lot of people do say family is one of their cores, right? But if family is a core, then why are you working till 11 o'clock at night? Why are you working all hours? Why are you putting your family second and your business first? And so it's recognizing that, setting up triggers so you can recognize it. But then it's also setting up boundaries around it, so that when you make a decision as to whether or not you're going to meet a client at 8 o'clock at night or on a Saturday or a Sunday, that you go back to the core and say, how does this affect my core? And so every decision can be made that way. And one of my cores, for example, is stability.
Mhm.
Stability of time and stability of money. And so every decision that I make is, does this disrupt my time so that now I get stressed? Because we're all running around in that, the lizard brain of fight or flight. And that state of fight or flight is what creates heart attacks, stroke, and you won't feel it today, but you will feel it 10, 15 years from now. So we have to be able to lower that,
Mm.
take some breathing, right? Get into that state so that we can make better decisions. And so for me, if stability is mine, and I think, can I shove that in? And we say that all the time. Can I cram that into my schedule? The answer for me is there's no need to cram it in to stress me out, because it doesn't serve my stability of time. And the same thing holds true with the shiny object. Should I buy that new app, that new toy, gosh, with all the technology that we're surrounded with right now, right? Should I
Right.
buy the new camera and the new this and the new lights and all these things? And it has to go down to, how does that affect the stability of my financial picture? And so it's easy to make decisions and go down a very direct path rather than just meandering, as much as I see people do all the time, shifting, pivoting. I hate that word pivot, because it means turn around. I'm talking about 1-degree changes that make
It,
significant impacts.
and that's probably one of the biggest insidious things that I see with the people that are challenged to
Mhm.
achieve their potential is too much bumblebee, flight of the
Yeah.
bumblebee all over the place.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
and I admit, I really learned how to fly like a bumblebee on
Yeah.
my
Well,
journey.
listen, I was too, until that night at the restaurant.
And
Right.
I want to double down on what you just stated, some of the bombs you're dropping here, because people sometimes will think, oh yeah, I've written out my values. I have a mission statement. But I just want to double down on, you really got to
Yes.
use these tools to help you kind of create that framework, that focus. Like a train that's not on a track isn't really effective, right?
Yeah.
And so if you
Yeah.
can get your train on a track and stay focused, that's how you really build momentum, and then you can become unstoppable.
Yeah.
So those exercises that you talked about, the values and the mission, if you're listening and you say like, oh, I've kind of done that, I kind of have that, if you're not knowing them,
Using
making
it.
decisions by them, using it,
Yeah.
then take a step back. And if you haven't done it before, definitely, connect with someone that can guide you through that process. Like Jen, she has a really strong, refined process to help you get that clarity. And it's really powerful. So we talked about clarity a little bit, and there's one other thing I wanted to chat about that I thought you had good knowledge on too, is conversions.
Yeah.
You have some really great insights with that. So if you could just share a couple
Tidbits on
wonderful
that.
tidbits
Yeah.
and
And
knowledge,
I
that would
know
be
this is your specialty, so I don't want to step on your toes. But so I just want to share, my perspective on
right.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I talk to a lot of people. There's two aspects of this. One is that in business we have a tendency to think linear,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is so counterintuitive to me, because my degree is in architectural design and construction engineering, right? So I'm a very logical, linear thinker, which is why I built tons of systems, right?
Right.
But when it comes to business, we tend to think, I got a lead, I closed the deal. I got a lead, I closed the business, right? And now it's done. And
Mm-hmm.
we actually refer to people that we've closed business with as past clients, as if they're gone now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to just have you all consider and entertain the thought of having an infinity, right? An infinity, a movement, a constant movement. And on one side is all of your marketing and your branding and your client attraction and your market influencing, to be an expert, to draw the people into your system. And the other side is the actual system, how you create a client experience that creates loyalty. And I call them alumni clients, because what happens with alumni? They tell everyone about their school and they come back with money to donate, right? So
Right.
that means they'll come back into your system. So if you think of it, in this, sort of infinity, then you will always, always, always have clients, as long as you nurture them and not neglect them, right? And so when I'm talking to people about, so let me stay in that phase there. So I believe that what we have as a result of this is
Mm-hmm.
acres and acres of diamonds. And there's a book about this.
Oh wow.
Acres of Diamonds, a really small, in fact, always have it here. It's
Oh
just
cool.
a tiny little book, right? It's just a tiny little thing, tons of words though in it, right? But I'm going to give you the Crip Notes on it. Basically, this guy says, hey, there's diamonds being found all over the world. So he decides to sell his house, or his property and his house. And he takes all of his wealth and he travels the world trying to find diamonds and diamonds and diamonds. And years later, he comes back and he's poor, comes back to his town, happens to drive by his property that he had, and that man is wealthy. And all that happened was that instead of having his binoculars on, looking around for new, which of course we do, we need
Mhm.
new business,
Mhm.
but just, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. All he had to do is dig into what he already had, acres of diamonds right beneath us. And so that's what conversions are about for me. So if someone says, I need more business, I need more business, I would suggest looking at 5 things. Look at your service skills, because that's a reason why you're not converting. Are you getting back to people fast enough? Are you serving them? Or are you like a cat on a marble floor, right? In oil, constantly scrambling around for distractions and bumblebee, and you're just crazy busy and things slip through the cracks. So how are your service skills? What are your sales skills like?
Mhm.
Your actual sales skills not allowing you to convert more people. What are your system skills? Maybe you've talked to people, but then you drop the ball, right? What are your
Mhm.
service skills? What are your style skills? And what I mean by the style skills is, what are you doing to bring business to you, attract business so that the conversion's higher because it's coming from a reputable source
Mm.
rather than leads, right? Oh, I got to
Right.
buy more leads. So when you have someone who's referring, you're already sold, right? It's easier to convert. So what are your style skills to uh, eliminate the white noise out there and become someone who's known as an expert and niche in? And then last but not least is, what is your source skills? Where is the business coming from? You have to analyze that. I call it the Savannah syndrome, because I had a realtor that gave me 67 referrals one year, which is a lot. And we closed
Wow.
0.
Ah.
And it wasn't that it wasn't my sales skills, because I didn't even get a chance to talk to these people. It was the way she was referring me that I had to have a come to Jen meeting with her. And the next year she referred me 7 and we closed 5. So it was the way the source was referring, or sometimes it is the source. And, maybe it isn't buy leads on Zillow, go to Google or do Facebook ads. Maybe it's not that. So if you look at those 5 areas, you can really change the way that you convert. But most importantly is, you already have it in your hands. You got the lead. Now let's look at how we dig a little closer and better to improve and, take ourselves to a new altitude.
Very important. And like a lot of the things we talk about on the show, sometimes you can easily overlook it and think, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And give an
Yeah.
example. There was a plumber I was talking to. He'd been in business for 30 years. He was seeing his business on the decline, and just asked, do you happen to market to your past or current customers?
Alumni.
Right? Your alumni?
Alumni client.
And he's like, no, no. It doesn't make sense in my industry that if they have a clog or a broken pipe, they can call me. What am I going to do? Like put half price on clogged toilets or something? And I was like, well, you need to think about it, because other people are going to be marketing to your clients and customers, your alumni, right? And if you don't stay in contact with them, maybe they don't remember who they used. Maybe they
Can't find your phone number.
can't
Yeah.
find your phone number.
Yeah.
Maybe that someone else has an offer, and if you're not staying in contact, that's probably why you're losing some of that business, because other people are going after it.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah, I
doubling
think
down
so
on that.
too. Yeah, I know. I think so too. And, I always say, if you're not in front of your clients, someone else is. So
Hmm.
it's always a scramble for me to get in front of my clients,
Right.
right? Because if I'm not there, they're turning the channel, right? Somebody else
Hmm.
is watching that. But I think, also with that particular situation, is that sometimes, and I don't know this plumber, right? But this plumber, sometimes they don't have a full sense of what they are offering. They think that it's this one thing. I mean, I could be doing that and say, well, back then when I wasn't lending, all I offer is loans, but I could be offering lots and lots of things, mortgages under management. I could be offering education for my real estate agents. There's a lot of things that I could be offering other than give me a loan, I'll do it and get it done. And then on I go. And then I'm still looking for more referrals. Right. And that's time consuming and it's taxing. And that's why people focus on their business and not on their personal lives. And so for someone like him, it's really figuring out, where is his value? Where is not just his core, but where is his value in this? Could he be offering classes on how to maintain his all of your systems yourself, instead of waiting to call me? And I'm not saying and that would because I think the plumber would think, well, that'll take business out of my pocket, but they're not getting the business anyway. By
Right.
doing that, now they tell their friends,
Right.
hey, one of the things I love about this guy is X, Y, and Z. And the bottom line is things are going to happen. So there's a lot of different avenues that he could do to dig into his acres of diamonds. He's just saying, hey, got a diamond, took care of it, next, not digging in there.
Right. So speaking of diamonds, you have some diamonds that you like to share with people. And if those people who have been listening in say, hey, this lady knows her stuff, and wants to learn more about you or some of the gems that you offer, tell us how people can find out more about you and some of the cool things that you've got going on right now.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I do have a podcast. I have 2 podcasts. Actually, now I'm thinking I have 3.
Oh my goodness.
So I have a podcast called Mortgage Lending Mastery. It's the longest running podcast in that space. In fact, we're going to be celebrating 6 years, January 1st. So I'm a veteran in this industry, which is crazy. When you think back on podcasts, I feel like they've been around for a long time, but they've really only been around for 7.5 years or so. So yeah, Mortgage Lending Mastery. It's great to listen to some of the things I'm talking about, because I don't spend my entire time talking about mortgages. In fact, we don't talk about the technical things of mortgages at all. And then my second podcast that I released this year is called Success to Significance: Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. And there we explore people's trials and tribulations, as they go from everything from success to significance. And the glass ceilings that we all break through, the aha moments that we have, in life. And so we explore that. And then Getting Real with Realtors is what I do, Facebook Live. Getting Real with Realtors with Jen Plessis. And I explore real estate agents and their world and what they're doing. So that's some of the fun stuff that I'm doing, on the podcast side. Obviously, I'm a speaker, an author, so yeah, I have, so my best-selling book is Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights. This is sort of I've always said this, it's a soup for the soul. There's not a single chapter that's more than 2.5 pages long. This is the how. We all know what we need to do, but a lot of people don't get there because they're looking for the how. So each chapter says, all right, here's what you want to do, and here's how to do it, and here are the action items. Now go do it. So real exciting about that particular book. This book's been out for about 4 years now. And then last week, I collaborated with a few people. This is my 7th collaboration. And all of them have gone number 1, but this book went number 1 in 9 categories last week. And it's called Win or Learn: The Naked Truth. And it's women mortgage professionals who came together to bare their souls about their stories of, the rise in a male-dominated industry, and to their success. And some of us talked about men and some of us didn't. I talked about the power of pennies. You told me I didn't have any, and I was going to show you how I can be powerful with pennies. Right? So those are some of the things that we're doing. But, to get in touch with me, the best way is just to go to jenduplessis.com, and, you can send me an email, and I promise I'll respond.
Super cool. Jen, thank you for coming on and contributing to Growth Amplifiers. You got some great things to think about if you've tuned in. Listen to this, and I encourage you again, don't just listen and say, oh, that was nice. I want to listen and apply. It's all about what we're looking to do here. Keep on taking new actions, achieve new results. So Jen, thanks for contributing, and looking forward to connecting with you again in the near future. Any final words you'd like to share?
No, well, yeah, I'm going to share a quote with you. We flatter those we scarcely know. We please the fleeting guests, but we deal many a thoughtless blow to those we love the best. Get your priorities in order.
Awesome.
Thank you.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.